Bismark, Owusu, Nortey. I know you're with the Peasant Farmers Association, and earlier you talked about how widespread this is and how worrying it is for you as well. I'm just wondering, from where you sit, whether there's any sort of education going on for farmers in such areas, and what sort of education is even going on to ensure that, at least on your part as well, you're able to do something about this. Mr. Owusu Nortey, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that there's been a lot of efforts by several groups, including farmer groups like ourselves, civil society, NGOs across the country, to try and educate a lot of not only farmers but community people regarding the effects of Galamsey on even the quality of food. Even though I must say that in some areas there appears to be some understanding, in some areas there are a lot of pushbacks. In fact, there are several areas where a lot of farmers are even afraid to speak up for fear of abuse or fear of victimization, either by the landowners or by the traditional authorities. So those kind of situations sometimes makes it a bit difficult for some farmers or some groups to completely curb this particular situation. Now, for us, I think that we also believe in the prevention is better than cure. Because if you look at the respective regions where the Galamsey activities are quite common or dominant, these are the regions that produces a lot of some of the staple foods that we consume in a country. If you take a commodity like maize, if you check the figures from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the top 5 regions producing maize include the Ashanti, Eastern, and even the Bono regions. If you come to cassava, the top 5 includes Eastern and Ashanti region. If you come to yam, the top 5 includes Ashanti region. If you come to cocoyam, the top 5 includes Ashanti, Western, North, Eastern. If you come to plantain, Ashanti, Western. So you realize that the key regions that are critical for producing this food for us are the same regions where these Galamsey activities is quite endemic. So for us, whilst we are also doing our best to get our members to understand that there's value in production in agriculture other than mining, you understand that there are also factors that are beyond the means of the farmer. There are instances where some farmers are migrants. They are not indigenous from the land. So when they have lands to do the agriculture, when an offer comes from a big-time miner, the land is forcibly taken from them and given to the miner to do their mines. In some instances too, you have your mine, your farm, very close to where mine activities are done. And that's where sometimes this contamination comes in. So for us, if we are very deliberate and very conscious about our agriculture and about our food, I think that this should be a matter of utmost importance to government. Recently, I heard that the president mentioned that he is considering formulating a legislation to criminalize the destruction of cocoa farms. And I was wondering why we didn't add food crops to it. Because in as much as we know the value we get from cocoa through export, we should understand that we need to survive and eat before we can produce cocoa. So the food crops are important. So what laws or legislation do we have to protect the food crops that are being produced in the country, to protect the quality of food crops that are being consumed by Ghanaians and even exported. So for me, whilst I agree perfectly with my senior colleague, Dr. Sakara, that there needs to be a holistic approach in handling this thing, I think that the priority should be given to agriculture and the food that you consume. We can't be in a country where we are exposed to several havocs, and then the quality of food also becomes a major issue. So if you ask me, I think that whilst we are contemplating legislating against the destruction of cocoa farms, I think as a matter of urgency, we should also be thinking about legislating against the destruction of farmlands, especially for illegal resource mining. And this one doesn't include only Galamsey, but sand winning, clay mining, and other things that are affecting a lot of farmers across the country. Also, I think that if you recently we also heard that to curb illegal gold smuggling, they've inaugurated a task force to do that. And I also wonder, so when are we going to get a task force that's also going to protect our agriculture and our farming systems? Because the farming system now is suffering from a lot of shocks. We have our climate shock that we are dealing with. We have the weather crisis that we are dealing with. Now we have illegal mining, sand winning, clay mining, all trying to affect and limit our work as farmers. So I think that though we are looking at all these nice task forces and interventions to protect our gold and protect our cocoa, I don't think that we should leave the food crops behind, because as I said, that is critical for the survival of as a nation.